Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous IXL tutorial. Today we're working on IXL AA.15. This is a checkpoint module. So this is going to be an IXL module where you will see random problems all from the previous AAs show up. So as we work to 80 today, expect any and everything from AA1 all the way to AA14. Now, if you find this module somewhat difficult, I would go back to some of the AAs earlier and focus on one module at a time. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get started because we're ready to go. All right, this is a review of a slope and y-intercept. So let's take a look at the question. The question says, a line has a y-intercept of -4 and passes through the point 2 and 3. Which of the following is an equation of the line? All right, this is a great problem here. Okay, first of all, y-intercept of -4 has to be the last number. So notice that here that the y-intercept doesn't match. So already the first one's out. The second one matches, so that part is good so far. The third one is +3, so the y-intercept again doesn't match. And the fourth one is -4, so that one matches too. Now, just using the y-intercept, we've already eliminated half the possible answers. Now we got to figure out, well, it needs to pass through the point 2 and 3. Well, remember that 2 is your x value and 3 is your y value. So if we take one of these equations and plug it in, both sides should be equal. So here we go. Let's take this one. We got y equals 2 over 7x minus 4. All right, so what's the value of y? That's right. The value of y is 3. So we're going to plug in 3 equals 2 over 7 multiply the x value of 2 subtract 4. Now, if both sides are equal, then we know this equation is true. All right, let's give this a run. So we got 3 equals 2 times 2 is going to be a total of 4 on top. And whenever you're multiplying straight across, if you have no denominator, we're just going to go ahead and just add a 1. So we got 7 times 1, which is 7 there, minus 4. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add 4 to both sides. Actually, why would I do that? Why would I add 4 to both sides? Because there's no variable. So we need to figure out, is 4 over 7 minus 4 equal to 3? This one's kind of tough. Now, the problem is I can't subtract a fraction of a whole number. Something doesn't work. But did you know that 4 is equal to, let's see, we need to get a denominator of 7. So if we do times 7 over times 7, let's take a look. 4 times 7 is 28, and 1 times 7 is 7. Oh, 28 over 7 is the same thing as -4. All right, so now we can just go ahead and subtract. So literally we're going to take 4 minus 28. So actually, let me just write this nice. So we got 3 equals 4 minus 28 over 7 and 7. We got 3 equals 4 minus 28. Ooh, 4 minus 28. We have $4. We lost 28 of them. That looks like it's going to take us 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Negative 24 over 7. All right, now this is not going to work because last time I checked, negative 21 over 7 will give you a whole number, but 24 divided 7 isn't working out. So I think this one's going to be a no. So the question is, does this last equation work by plugging in this point? So let's just see if that does. We got y equals, I'm just copying down the question right now, 7 over 2, subtract 4. Don't forget the x. All right, y is equal to 3, so we got 3 there. 7 over 2 multiply. What's the x value? Oh, x value is 2 minus 4. All right, in order of operations, we're going to multiply before subtracting. So we're going to multiply straight across. 2 will be over 1 because we need to multiply again straight across. So we got 3 equals, 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 1 is 2. Oh, this is looking better already because I like how this is going to cancel out. Here it got ugly. Usually when a problem gets ugly, you're usually not on the right track. You want fractions to work out the whole number. So let's watch how this works out. 14 over 2 minus 7. Literally, 14 divide 2 comes out to a nice whole number of 7. Bring down negative 4, and there you go. Because you got 3 equals 7 minus 4 is 3. So the last one is the correct answer. But again, if you found this pretty confusing, use process of elimination. You should definitely not pick the first and the third one because those were completely wrong answers. But the last part was just simply plugging in your answers and seeing what works. And again, if it comes out ugly and it's just getting weird and weird and weird, chances are it's not coming out right. All right, so we're going to pick the last one on this one. We got worked on this one, so we're going to hope for some easier ones. But last one's going to be correct. Way to score 20 points on that one. That was definitely worth it. Let's go ahead and clear the board. All right, line passes through the points. What is his equation in slope intercept form? Write your answer using integers and whatnot. All right. First of all, we need to find what the slope is. Remember, slope we have y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And that's just calculating slope. And remember, slope is the m value. All right, so we got x. This is x1 and y1, which means the first x, the first y value. And the second set is the second x and the second y. That's all that means. So we just need to have a first set and a second set. And we're just going to simply take those sets of numbers and plug them in and figure out where the slope is. All right, so our first y value is negative 7. Subtract y2, which is negative 3. Now, we're going to put another subtract because you have a subtraction in the problem and you have a subtraction in the actual number. So double negative, 1, 2 negatives. All right. Now, the second x values, or the x values, we got 8 on the bottom. Subtract x value of 2 here. So we got 6 there. All right. Let's go ahead and put equals. Ignore that little typo there. Of course, another beautiful piece of writing right there. All right, negative 7 minus minus 3. First of all, a minus minus is a positive. And when you have negative 7, add 3, you have less of a debt. So 6, 5, 4. So now negative 4 there on top. And 8 minus 6 is positive 2. All right, pretty nice. So now we got negative 4 over 2. 4 divided 2 gives us 2. And negative over a positive gives us negative. So that's our slope value. So what do we got so far? We got y equals our slope of negative 2x plus, that's the last part. We got to figure out, well, where is it crossing the y axis? All right, now this next part, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take what we don't know and call this a variable of a box, because what we want here is something that goes in the box. Now, what we do know is we do have two sets of values up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take one x value here and plug in 8 for x. And I'm going to take this y value here and plug in negative 7 for y. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this box here to just simply make both sides of the equation true. So I got negative 7 equals negative 2 multiplied positive 8 plus something. So the next step, what happens is I get negative 7 equals negative 16 plus something will make the both sides of the equation true. So what I need to do is figure out, well, what do I do to negative 16 to make it equal to negative 7? Well, an idea for this one is to possibly just make both sides equal to one number. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides here. So I got 0 equals negative 16 plus 7. Let's see, now we're counting backwards. Negative 15, negative 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Oh, positive 9. But wait a minute. It can't be positive 9 because 16 is the higher of the magnitudes. So we got -9 plus box. Now, because it's equal to 0, well, you ask yourself, what's the opposite of -9? Let me see. Oh, drop the negative and call it a +9. So therefore, our y-intercept is +9. So final equation's right here. We got y equals -2x plus 9. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take that and plug it in. That was kind of a crazy problem. So we got y equals -2x plus 9. I cross my fingers this actually works, because remember, one little mistake here, you got it wrong, and it can make you upset. All right, clear the board. What is next, y'all? We got a line and two triangles are shown on the coordinate plane. And we got to match it to one of these. All right, let's talk about it. So we have triangle E, G, and F, and B, C, and D. All right, so I think what I want to do is I want to figure out how to make these two equal to each other. All right, let's start with our first sentence here. We got DCB, DC to B, and F to G. That part makes sense. F to G to E. So notice it's an exact opposite and kind of follows the same path. Are similar. Similar means they are the same ratio, but not necessarily the same side. So this part checks out. So the ratio of CB, C to B, and I'm going to check and see if that matches FG. So C to B is the shortest side of the triangle, and F to G is not the shortest side of the triangle here. So this ratio part fails, therefore this whole part is out. So again, you just kind of match things. Shortest side, well, it should match the shortest side of the other triangle, and it doesn't. All right, so I'm going to stop there. Once it's not true, I'm just going to move on. All right, DCB and FGE are similar. It's the exact same thing as before, so we know those are good. Now, let's see if they change something. Remember, CB right here, C to B, is the shortest side of the triangle. So now let's see if they found the shortest side of the triangle on the other one, which they're saying G to E. See how that looks better? Shortest side of the triangle is here. All right, now check the bottoms. We got D to C, which is the medium side of the triangle. Remember the hypotenuse. Okay, hypotenuse is the fancy word for the longest side of a triangle. Is always the longest. So we have the medium side, should match GE. Something. Oh, wait a minute, because I looked at the first one. To FG. So F to G. F to G. Yeah, that's also the medium side triangle. So this part's still good. The first part was good. The slope between D and B, D to B, and the slope between E and F, that part looks good. All right, are both equal to 1/2. Well, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. That part looks good. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. I'm saying the second one looks really good. Now, to be careful, because these problems are a little bit more tricky, I want to check and see how these last two are actually wrong. All right, so we got DCB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the screen because I got it pretty marked up for the last two. But remember, we're sticking with the second one. All right, we got DCB, DC to B, and FG to E are congruent. Now, congruent, quote unquote, means the same. And the problem is they're not the same triangle. They're actually different lengths. And see the same thing right here? This word congruent shows up here. So that actually makes both of these false. We know up here that this part was false. So therefore, the second one has to be the right answer. So that part makes me feel good. So whenever you think something's right, go check and see why the rest of it might be wrong. That way you know you lock it in and get the right answer. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn that one in. And I'm a smart score of 50. Notice the score has jumped up really rapidly because the questions are difficult. So it's better to take your time on this module to then rush through it because, in fact, if you just do it looks like maybe under 10 problems, you'll just be already done anyways. All right, we got a next one. We got a line passes through the point 12, comma 9 and has a slope of 2 over 3. An equation of the line is this beautiful thing right here. What is the equation of the line in slope intercept form? Okay, so we got some fixing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation here and fix it into y equals form. So we got y minus 9 over x minus 12 equals 2 over 3. All right, our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this x minus 12 on the bottom and multiply both sides. Well, why are we multiplying both sides? Well, we're multiplying both sides because it's currently in a division phase. So we want to do the opposite. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to change the color so you can see how it gets multiplied. So we're going to multiply the left side by x minus 12. And whatever you do to one side of the equation, you need to do to the other side. So we're going to multiply this side by x minus 12. All right. Well, what's nice about this is on the left side is x minus 12 divide x minus 12 cancels out, which was the whole point because remember, we're trying to get y by itself. So we got y minus 9 equals, all right, we got 2 over 3 times x because we have something called a constant, which is a number, times a variable. Those just stay together. So we got 2 over 3x. Now here we got distributed property of 2 times negative 12. Well, 2 times negative 12 is negative 24, but then you got to take that negative 4 and divide by 3. And negative 24 divide 3 gives you negative 8. So now that comes out with negative 8. A way of looking at that is literally saying, what is 2/3 of negative 12? And because the numerator is smaller than the denominator, the number has to be smaller at the end. So that part looks good. Now we're really, really close to finishing this problem up because we got y almost by itself. But the negative 9 is not helping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 9 on both sides to get y by itself. So 9 and negative 9 cancels out. Hey, y is by itself equals 2 over 3x. Now, our last little part here is we got negative 8 plus 9. Well, if we owe $8 and we're paid back $9, we're ahead $1. So in this equation here, we got y equals 2 over 3x plus 1. So we're going to go ahead and choose the third option that matches here. Now here, I got to be careful. The 3 is on top, which is in the numerator, and the 2 is on the denominator. And notice they're switched. So very, very sneaky. That was not the right answer. And the last one has to end with 1, so therefore these are not the right answer. And either the first one matches, which it does, and if it didn't, we did the problem wrong. So because it matches, for sure, I could probably be pretty good picking the first problem. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn that one in. Now, we're only 4 problems in at a smart score of 60. So again, I cannot reiterate, just really take your time and do a few problems correctly to maximize your time and ability. All right, a line passes through 2 points on the given table. Find another point that lies on the line. All right. Looks like we have the freedom to choose any point that we want. So what I do is, because we have a table, is look for a pattern. Well, how do you go from negative 1 to 7? Well, negative 1 to 7 looks like we have add 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. All right. Well, now how do we go from 5 to negative 5? Looks like we subtract 10. So this pattern here is kind of tricky. So we got to figure out, well, is there another way to create a pattern? All right, because we're not really finding a pattern, what I want to do here is let's do something called find the slope. So you got to imagine somehow this is a line where 2 points are something like that. And that's just a hypothetical example, right? So what we got to do is find either a point here, maybe a point here, or a point here, and see how to get one of those points. Now, it could be any of those question mark points, but just guessing, most likely, because there's so many points around this entire graph, will probably almost guarantee us to get it wrong for sure. All right, so what I want to do is I want to just find the slope. Remember, slope is in the form of m. So we have your set 1 and your set 2. So we have x1, x2, and y1 and y2. So remember our slope formula, and remember from earlier, we have y1 subtract y2 over x1 minus x2. All right, we're just going to take those slope numbers and simply plug them in to determine what our slope is. All right, so from y1 is 7, subtract y2, be careful, y2 is also negative, so we're going to throw in another negative for 5. Over x1, we got negative 1, subtract 5. All right, remember a negative is a positive, so we got 7 plus 5. Let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got 12 over, when we lose $1 and we lose another $1, we lost a total of $6 there. So we got 12 over negative 6. And 12 divided 6 gives us 2. And when you have a positive over a negative, that's going to give you a negative. So you got negative 2. All right, so our slope is negative 2. So we have negative 2 over 1, because remember, slope should be in a fraction. We're going to need that fraction to determine some sort of equation. So we got y equals negative 2 over 1x plus, well, we don't know the blank. So now we're going to take our information that we have so far and see, well, what can we do? What about just finding where the y-intercept is equal to, let's say, I don't know, 0, and to see what happens to our x. So, because we have no y-intercept of 0, so that might just be a way to go. Let's take one of these points here and plug them into our equation to determine what goes in that box. So here we go. Let's just use that second set right here. So our y value has to be negative 5. So negative 5 equals negative 2. Remember, negative 2 over 1 could be just left as negative 2. But just know that they're the same. Times our x value of 5 plus something to make the equation true. All right, so what we got is negative 5 equals negative, let's see, negative 10 plus a box here. All right, so our next step here is we got negative 5 equals negative 10. Now, they don't match. But if I use a y-intercept of positive 5, well, negative 10 plus 5 will give you negative 5 equals negative 5. Now, why is that important? Because that just gave us an equation. Now we can pick anything we want to generate a point. Now, because we have a slope of even numbers and they're using x values of odd numbers, what I would do is probably stick with an odd number for the x and see how that works out. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just pick an x number of, I'm going to stay small. I'm going to stay positive 1. So we're going to use the equation here to determine what the y value is. We got y equals negative 2 multiply, because we just plug in a value of 1, and our y-intercept of positive 5. All right, so we got y equals negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 5. That's why I choose 1, because 1 makes it so easy just to multiply with. And 5 minus 2 gives us a y value of 3. So there we go. The point 1 and 3 should work beautifully for this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and take our numbers and we're going to plug it in. So we're going to plug in a 1 there and a 3 there. 1 and 3. So check your numbers carefully. We have a positive 3 for the y, good. And we use a positive 1 for x. And positive 1, 3 has to work. And it did. Nice. All right. Look at this graph. What is the equation in slope-intercept form? We finally got a break. One of the easier ones. So we have y equals mx plus b for our slope-intercept form. So we have y equals, well, what's the slope? Let's find 2 points. We have a point right here because it crosses both horizontal and vertical grid lines. No, yes, right here. So it looks like the pattern is going to be up 2 and to the right 1. So for our slope, we're going to go up 2 to the right 1, x, plus, where does it cross the y-intercept? Well, it crosses the y-intercept at -3. So we're going to do a -3 there. All right, we're almost done already. Told you, like I said, we got a lucky break on this one. But we just need to clean up our equation. So we got y equals 2 divided 1 is going to give you a positive 2x because 2 divided 1 is literally whole number of 2. And a positive negative is a negative, and bring down the 3. So our final equation here is y equals 2x minus 3. And there we go. Y equals 2x subtract 3. And you know I'm double checking it. All right. Again, we've only answered 6 questions. Smart score is 78. So all we got to do is get one more question right and we're done. So again, as hard as this may be, take your time. You can be done in 7 questions like myself if you just slow down. All right. Looks like one of these problems here with the triangle. Now, what I want to do is I want to take a look at some of the language here. And the language that I'm noticing here is we got 2 with congruent. Then we got 2 with similar. So the word congruent means exact. That means they're going to be exactly the same. So what we're going to do is use process of elimination to clean this up. Similar means same shape, but not size. But not size. So what this can mean is we have 2 triangles, but the triangles don't have to be the exact size, but they have to still be triangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check our triangles above and see, are they exactly the same or are they just similar? Because once we figure that out, we're half and half already. All right. So here, just a simple counting game. Let's go from A to E. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. And the hypotenuse, you can't count diagonal like that. So we're just going to leave that alone right now. So what's important is B to F also 9? Let's find out. Now, what I don't like about B to F is notice that they are fractions of a box. And to me, that's being kind of sneaky and tricky. I'm just going to count and see if it even is close to 9. So notice again, it's kind of in the middle of the box. So in the middle of the box there is 1, middle 2, middle 3, middle 4, middle 5, middle 6, middle 7, middle 8. So for sure, they're not the same. So which means it's because they're not exact, our first and second choices are out. So now it's just a matter of figuring out which one of these are there. So they're similar, but we got to check the ratio. So it's going to come down to these ratios right now. All right, let's take a look from A to E. A to E is the medium side on the red triangle. A to E doesn't match up with the medium side on the other triangle, FD. So wait a minute, FD is the shortest side on the other triangle. So the medium side cannot be FD because that's medium and shorter side. They're not the same thing. So by process of elimination, it has to be the last one. But again, I'm doing so good. 6 questions. I don't even want to imagine how far my score is going to drop by getting this one wrong. So let's check and make sure that the last one's right. So A to E, medium side. Now is BF the medium side of the other triangle? And it is. Notice that AE and BF, they're even in the same direction. So they both go up. That looks good. And check the bottoms here. We got EC. What is EC? EC is the shortest side going to the right. So it should go FD to the other one. And there it is. There's FD. So that looks good. So we're going to go ahead and choose the last one. I'm going to stop there because I'm pretty convinced at this point. So again, just use the vocabulary. A lot of times you can do 50-50 right off the bat and go from there. All right, highest score ever on one of these tutorials, 86, 7 questions later. Again, I cannot reiterate, just take your time on this. Go back and review your AAs if you get stuck. With that being said, this concludes your tutorial for the checkpoint of the AA series. Have a fantastic day.